blessed with a championship prosperity the likes of which we have never seen. Cursed by a past riddled with despair. This is Blursed.
You son of a bitch.
I thought I needed a little ad-lib there. Optimus Prime was asking for those backup vocals.
I need to get Oh No's new song on the front end here, but haven't gotten to it.
But yeah, that just means all you should stay till the end to hear it.
It is pretty dope.
It's really
Slaps.
good. It's Tuesday, isn't
straight
it?
Dripping. Tuesday, isn't it? Welcome back to Blursed, everybody. My name is Hayden Cummins. I'm joined by only Blake today.
What's
Aaron
up,
is
everybody?
quite busy with work and whatnot leading up to Christmas. So
It's the season. It is the season.
unfortunately, we are without our Crispy Kais.
But he did want us to tell you that the Dogs basketball team beat Notre Dame by 15 points, and we're 8-3 on the season. And I'm bringing it up now because we probably won't go much into it, but it's worth talking about. It's worth the know. Mike White.
It's probably one of the best performances we've had with UJ basketball in years.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, Mark Fox, I think we had a couple of successful seasons under him, but 8-3 is like the best beginning record I can think of.
Yeah,
really,
it bodes well in his first season too.
Yeah, I'll be honest. The competition hasn't been there, but I mean, anytime you beat Notre Dame in basketball is a really good win. Beating by 15, that's huge.
Yeah, they're an ACC school in basketball, right?
Yeah, they are.
That's the division. That's the conference.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the conference you want to beat. So, yeah, so that's good news there. How have you been?
Oh, you know, leading up to Christmas, it's getting chilly out here in Colorado. There's a high of 1 degree on Thursday, so that's going to be a new experience.
So that cold air
down to like -20.
I cannot believe that. You have to go outside just to feel, just to know what it feels like to feel that. It's supposed to get down to 14 here in Atlanta on Friday night. Like it's not supposed to go, and we'll also go above freezing for like 3 days actually. So there's actually they're calling for maybe snow up in North Georgia, but there's definitely going to be some ice down here in Atlanta. So
it's been some crazy weather there here lately. With
we're 70 like a week and a half ago.
Jeez.
You know how Georgia is. Georgia weather.
Yeah, just come to Blursed. You get to some weather talk. You don't have to watch the news.
Yeah, we'll let you know what's coming up as you drive in tomorrow. Be on the lookout for it. I'm just kidding. Hey, also though, look and look out for Santa. He's almost there. He's about to make his rounds. I don't know. Did you do Santa when you were a kid?
Oh yeah. I don't even. Yeah, I mean, my family's big into it because my grandparents own a Christmas tree farm, so that was always like a big deal.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, still have it. It's in Marietta. You have to go on the first weekend. Coker Tree Farm, shout out.
Shout them out. Yeah.
Only a couple years left that they're doing it, so if you want that experience of cutting down a Christmas tree, you have to go like the day after Thanksgiving.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we my mom made it very clear when I was a kid that Santa wasn't real. Yeah, so we didn't really do Santa, but we still did the gifts and the tree and all that stuff. It just my mom didn't want us believing some guy was bringing us gifts. I don't know. I get it. I get it. Like for when I have kids one day, I think what we're gonna do is like the useful gift, like not the flashy one, but the useful one, like maybe your set of tools or whatever it may be. It's from Santa, and all the cool stuff's from mom and dad. So that way,
yeah, I've heard both approaches, or I've read about it. Not that I've done any of this in practice. So
yeah, right.
But got time. I'm not even 30 yet. Not worried about it.
Not even 30 yet. Hell yeah,
you got stuff to do before then.
But you know what's not on our Christmas list this year? Dansby.
What? Ooh, Dansby. I guess we could start there. Let's talk about the Braves.
Braves.
Wait, do we want to do a Blursed of the week this week?
Yeah, let's talk about Braves and we'll do Blursed of the week.
Okay, that's fair.
Since I already hit the button, so
we already got to go.
What are we gonna do
with this?
Yeah, so Dansby is officially no longer a Brave. He signed a 7-year, was it 7 years? $177 million contract.
I think the AAV is
Chicago Cubs.
$25 million a year or something like that.
Yeah, so that was a big thing. Is like it was a much smaller contract than like Xander Bogaerts and the other big three got, Carlos Correa and Trey Turner. But that was kind of expected because of Dansby's inconsistencies at the plate. And he just was coming off a career year and that's kind of why he got a lower amount. But yeah, that average value over the course of the contract is $25 million a year, which is that would have made him the highest paid player on the Braves. But I think it's more about the years, and that's why he's gone. 7 years is a long contract, especially for a guy that's about to turn 29, I think. So that would put him at 36 with an inconsistent hitting tool.
Yeah,
he did
that's the
come
thing
off
we've
winning
talked
the
about.
Gold Glove, but he
Yeah.
does have one of the weaker arms for shortstop. So he's very well-rounded player that has inconsistencies, but it's not going to play well into his mid to late 30s, in my opinion. So I'm not upset about it. I'm happy that he cashed out.
Yeah.
And I'm also happy that the Braves didn't spend on him. Not that much.
I think if you look at Dansby Swanson and his career with the Braves, like we won that trade. We traded Shelby Miller for Dansby Swanson. My God, we won that trade. And not only that, we won a World Series with him. We accomplished a ton with Dansby. Does it stink that he's no longer going to be a Brave? Yeah, for sure. But I mean, let's be honest. Last year was statistically his best year. It could be an anomaly. I don't want that for Dansby. I hope he has a successful career, and I would love for him to be worth every penny that they paid him. But I agree with you. I think it was a little too much for the Braves, especially when you look at like Austin Riley, who you gave that big contract to, which has only come out at $21 million a year. And Austin Riley has been way better than Dansby ever has been at the plate. I know there's more to it with the shortstop position, but I just personally didn't feel comfortable spending that money if we're
it's kind of interesting. Like if you look at the correlation between Jason Hayward, obviously came up with the Braves, played right field. And then he kind of fizzled out with the Braves, and he
also got the Cubs.
he played 1 year with the Cardinals and had a great year, and then he got a huge contract with the Cubs. And so it's kind of interesting to see how that plays out, if it's going to follow the same track. Hayward, who recently signed a non-guaranteed deal with the Dodgers, ironically. So former Braves.
I'm hoping we get Puig. Actually, speaking of which, like kind of reverse right there. We get Puig for our left fielder. I don't know. I'd like that.
He's been playing in the Korean League. Actually, he has some more legal trouble going on. We don't need any more of that.
Never mind. Yeah, we don't. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that. Yeah, we've had enough of that.
But yeah, so I mean, we're so sad to see Dansby go. We appreciate what he put into the franchise, and but at the end of the day, he didn't owe the Braves anything.
No.
Essentially, the difference ended up being about $75 million, which he doesn't owe the Braves anything.
Nope.
He did his part. He performed during his contract, and now he's making that money.
So how do you feel now? If all the dust has settled, do you think the Braves are done making moves? What do you think?
Yeah, so I guess in combination with that, we traded for
Park, right?
Hoy Park, I think is what his name is.
The Red Sox, or
most of his time was with the Padres. He's more of a utility infield type, so think like Adrianza or Arcia kind of guy. He may not even end up making the big league roster.
We also got Adrianza, right?
We did sign Adrianza like immediately after that too. So we have a little bit of infield backup depth. Now, we need a shortstop.
But it makes you feel like they're going Arcia, Grissom. At least to me, with those moves, I feel like you're going Grissom, Arcia, and you just have a platoon behind them.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
There's just so many conflicting reports right now, because a lot of people think that Grissom, he just is not going to be able to develop into a professional shortstop in one off season. And he wasn't supposed to. He really was supposed to be in AAA this season, and a lot of people think that's where he might end up starting the year, starting shortstop for the AAA team in Gwinnett, which I could see happening. If that's the case, then I fully expect there to be another trade happen before the season starts,
I can see that.
before spring training, because we need to shore up that position. Alex Anthopoulos has shown that he wants the high-end defensive positions. He wants those filled with high caliber. That's what the trade for Sean Murphy showed us too. He wanted to upgrade defensively and really up the middle of the field. You want your catcher, shortstop, second base, center field. Those are your key defensive
especially
positions.
With the shift changing. I feel like great defenders is really going to help you out more now, especially.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna force plays that we haven't seen in a couple of years of balls that were hit right at people. They're gonna have to be diving plays and ranging and strong arm. So we'll see what happens. There's still targets out there. There's a couple of options really in my mind.
I know Mark Bowman, who has been a beat writer for the Braves since 2001. Speaking of what you said about Grissom, he said, "I don't understand why so many assume Grissom would get the job. He's a great kid with a great work ethic, but I just can't see him making the strides necessary to begin next season as a big league shortstop." Which surprised me more than when I heard Pasternicki was going to be the Atlanta shortstop. So, like, what he's trying to say is that Grissom's not there yet. But there's a lot of people like me who hyped up on Grissom last year and would love to see the kid be ready this year. But I mean, I think we just need to pump the brakes a little bit.
We've been extremely lucky with calling up these players from Double A essentially here of late. It's not always going to work out like that, and sometimes you just got to give players a little bit more time to develop. Same thing happened with Austin Riley when he first came up. He set the world on fire, and he hit like a ton of home runs his first 2 weeks up, and then he hit a huge slump. I think he may have gone back down to AAA for like the end of that
struck
season.
Out for a month straight almost, it felt like.
Yeah, he couldn't hit that slider, but they figured that out pretty quickly, and that's kind of what happened to Vaughn. He came on late in the season this past year and hit really well, but then once the league gets the tape on you, then it gets a lot harder. So yeah, the inconsistency with the bat from the young guy, and then not knowing what his defensive tool is like.
Yep.
It's leaving some question marks. So there's the idea we could sign like a strong defensive shortstop, maybe a veteran that could fill the role for like a 1 year.
Simmons part 2.
Yeah, there's a lot of rumors about Elvis Andrews. So I don't know if you guys,
is that the Texans?
He actually came up in the Braves organization, and then he got traded to the Rangers. That's where he was most of his time. Last year, he actually had a really good year with the A's. So he's kind of bumped around late in his career, but he's like 35, 36. But he's still good defensively.
I mean, Jimmy Rollins showed you that older shortstops, like if you're a shortstop that hits contact and plays good defense, you can be in the league for a while.
Yeah, and like the thought behind it is we could fill the gap until Vaughn's ready, and then you don't care if shortstop's your worst hitter, you put him in the 9 hole, and then you want him to play excellent defense, and then as strong of a lineup as we have, it's not gonna make or break us having a 1 week bat at shortstop. Now, if that's the route we go, I would expect us to figure something else out in left field, because that's definitely our second biggest weakness right now. But at the end of the day, I expect something to happen. AA will do something that none of us even thought of, I'm sure.
That's speaking of that, like AA and doing that, and even like last year bringing up rookies, like something about AA, he makes timely moves. Like not only does he make the right moves a lot of times, it feels like, but he makes timely moves. Like just the gall to bring up both Money Mike and also Vaughn Grissom last year, just to bring him up and have that spark that hit our team and just got us to like you said, his batters have never been faced on a major league level. So before the pitchers figure him out, I mean, you ride it while it's hot, and then as soon as it was done, he put Vaughn Grissom back on the side again. Like I don't know, I just feel like it's like chess for him, and he knows when to move which piece.
It really is. And so like the issue with the trades is like, what do we have left to trade? If we wanted to try to trade for like a long-term shortstop, your best piece is probably Vaughn Grissom. And then we have some younger pitchers that we recently drafted early, like I think Jared Smith-Schuster, and maybe one other guy. I guess Elder is potentially a piece, Ian Anderson. So a lot of these pitching prospects, but like if we're going to trade up for a shortstop like that, it's going to cost a lot.
Right.
Now outfield, that's a different conversation because there's a ton of outfielders, and most of them, like any corner outfielder can play either side, and then any center fielder can play any position in the outfield. So there's a lot more options, a lot more depth around the league. Yep. So maybe we find a veteran guy that will be able to start every day instead of having a platoon out there, because that worked out when we had Jock and who else? Duvall that came in, and they and Soler.
But it makes you wonder though, because we still have Azuna on the roster and you still have Rosario on the roster, a platoon just seems likely. But like you said, there's still a lot of time left for moves to be made. So
yeah, chances are we end up with signing Adam Duvall again, which that's fine, but this is just not the upgrade to the lineup that you'd want. Well, he's capable, but
Well, we talked about this before the pod, and I'm just going to put you on the spot now. We were talking about doing a Christmas list for each of our teams. What if we just do it as we go? Like, what if for next year, if you had to pick one thing that the Braves are gifted, like it could be anything, like it could be far fetched or it could be realistic, but like the one thing that you would like, maybe it should be realistic, I guess. We'll do realistic. Like one thing you want for the Braves for next year as your Christmas present.
Man. Well, we're coming up on the last year of control of Max Fried's contract. So we have him for this season and the season after. We need to re-sign him long term. It's tough because we haven't been able to do that with any of the guys that have been around for a long time. So that would be my wish. Instead of bringing somebody in, I would rather lock Max Fried up just because I think his stuff just plays. If you look at other lefties like Clayton Kershaw, who's stuck around for a long time, and he's in that. He's not that dominant of a tier, but he's close. He's been in the top. He's a top 10 pitcher in baseball for the last 3 years probably, and I expect that to continue the next 4 or 5 years.
He's 28. Yeah, no, for sure. He turns 29 in the beginning next year. I mean, I'm right there with you. That was actually my same exact thing. Was my Christmas present? I'd love for us to see re-sign Max Fried. I would love that. I think pitching's so important. I think
it is.
And Houston's proved it when they just won this last year. Be able to get monster pitchers, even on a 1-year contract, works wonders. And I don't know. I think Max Fried's a guy you want to keep in the locker room. I just love his attitude. I love he's a fiery guy. I don't know. I like rooting for him. And with him and Strider, it's just they're just so different as players, which just makes, I don't know, it's cool.
Yeah, the crafty lefty and the hard throwing righty is always a fun dynamic.
I love it.
One thing to note, though, is Max Fried is the player rep for the MLBPA, which Major League Baseball Players Association, for the Braves. So he's not going to be taking a discount. That's not how it's going to go. So maybe it's Max Fried that ends up getting the big contract for the Braves and gets paid.
I mean, that'd be nice. I mean, the pitching is a little different. They've been willing, I feel like, to give out more money to pitching than they have been. Charlie Morton's got another $20 million, and I don't know if he's worth $20 million. I don't know, but
we'll see. Probably not.
But I mean, just having him around, they're willing to do that, and I think they would do something similar for Max Fried. I feel like they'd be able to pay up some, but Max Fried could also be your trade bait. You're like, oh, we're about to lose him for this. You use him to trade, which would be crazy if that happened. And I'm not asking for that to happen, but there is a world where that could happen.
There's rumors out there. There's pieces that could be moved on the big league level, but
it just seems weird.
Not.
It seems weird if we did that. I don't know if it'd be a move forward.
Yeah, I don't know. We just have run out of pieces essentially to trade for left fielder or shortstop. So we'll see what happens. We do have a little bit of depth in the rotation right now, but.
Yeah.
We shall see.
I guess I can pick something different. I want health for all of our good players, which is all of them. They're all great. No, but seriously, I don't know. I feel like this year we battled so hard to get to 100 wins and we played hurt all year. So just imagine a healthy team going forward. I don't know. I'd like to see that.
I mean, we have the lineup to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
We stay healthy.
That's what I like too. I think the Braves are going to be kind of slept on, which is weird to say, but I've already seen early predictions for next year with Mets being in the first place in our division. So I think we'll be slept on again, which fuels the fire.
Yeah, I mean, it's not unexpected. I don't even know if a lot of places predicted the Braves to win the division this year. It's always the Mets or the Phillies that is predicted, and then it's typically the Braves that win it. So I'm okay with coming up that direction.
Oh, I love it. It gives the team something else to fight for, though. I really appreciate it.
You want to do Blursed of the week?
Yeah, man. Do you have one raring to go?
Oh no.
Blursed of the week.
So my Blursed of the week is actually not Atlanta sports related, but it's sports related, and I think everyone can get behind it. It's fantasy football. I got eliminated from playoffs this week, and I think both my leagues actually. And both of them, I felt like I had probably one of the better teams, but that's just what fantasy football is. I'll be honest, this year's team is one of my favorite teams I've ever had, and I got beat in the first round, and that happens. So the blessing and the curse is fantasy football. It's something I obsess over for months on months on months. And then I'll be honest with you, though, every year, win or lose, I look forward to when it's over because I get some time back. Because I get way too much into it to a point where it's such a letdown when I lose. Yesterday, I had a bad day. I just stopped looking at my phone at 4:00. I was like, I don't care anymore.
It's tough.
For those listening, I had Jonathan Taylor and he got hurt in the very beginning of that game, and he would have had 20, 30 points easy. Like if you looked at it was they put up 36 points, and the running backs they had together combined for over 20 points, and they're not Jonathan Taylor. They're not going to do what he could have done. So
that was a wild game. That was the game where the Colts went up 33-0 over the Vikings, and then they blew the lead.
Poor Matt Ryan.
Yeah, you got to feel for him
Poor
a little
Matt
bit.
Ryan. He said, too, they asked him after the game, he goes, well, I've been in the league long enough to know that anything can happen.
Yeah, hey. And it usually happens to him somehow.
I just want to say this for Matt Ryan. When you compare some of the greats, especially like Tom Brady comes to example for me, he has been one of the most fortunate quarterbacks when it comes to defense. Like, he's had top 10 defenses throughout his entire career. Matt Ryan's never once had top 10 defense. Never once. I think Peyton Manning's also similar. I think he only had one top 10 defense or two, and that was both with the Broncos. It was never with the Indianapolis Colts. So, like, some of these quarterbacks that never will win the big one and their thing will always be a little tainted from some people, never had the defense to back them up. And I hate to see it.
And that's one thing that stayed consistent after Tom Brady left the Patriots too, is that their defense has stayed good. They've stayed at like a top 10, top 5 defense since he left.
Absolutely.
So the problems have been the offense. So for some reason they hired a defensive coordinator to be their offensive coordinator this year. So not sure about that.
Oh, the Patriots? Oh yeah, I don't understand that either. I think they're waiting for Josh McDaniels to get fired again and just rehire him back up again.
I mean, that could happen at any moment. It was a weird weekend of NFL actually, because there's the Patriots Raiders game.
Yes.
Did you see that play?
Yeah, it was my running back, Stevenson. I didn't watch at this point because I was too mad, but he lateraled, but it was like a bad one. They intercepted it and took it back for a touchdown to win it.
So it was a tie game. I think it's 24-24.
Do you think it was planned?
Last play of the game, Ramondre Stevenson for the Patriots takes a draw. It was supposed to be a simple draw. He ends up picking like 25 yards up, and he's like, oh, dang, we could actually score right here. He pitches it back to Jacoby Myers, the receiver for the Patriots. And then he's about to go down, and he throws it back across the field about 20 yards.
Did that. Okay.
Yeah, and then the Raiders just caught it out of the air, stiff-armed the hell out of Mac Jones, and took it all the way back and won the game. So that's why you don't usually see lateral plays like that when the game is tied.
Right, for sure.
At the end of the game, if you're behind,
there's so much
it makes
risk.
Sense. Yeah. So it wasn't planned. It was like it was just supposed to be a run play.
Yeah.
And they got carried away, I guess. But you don't usually see that happen with Patriots teams, and so it's kind of nice to see, especially on a week that people were talking shit about Matt Ryan blowing a lead again.
It is nice to see, and also not to mention the fact that Tom Brady also blew a lead. He blew a 16-point lead because he had 4 turnovers. Like, people don't talk about that enough. Like, because that's the thing is Matt Ryan I don't think he had a single turnover in that game. They still lost, so it's pretty tough to watch. Man, what was I going to say? I was going to build off that, but you can go to your Blursed of the week if you'd like to.
I think I'm going to steal the office talk I was talking about.
Do it.
All right. So my blessed of the week is the Falcons lost.
Uh-huh.
So that sucks. They lost 2 games this season to the Saints. But we are still in contention. If we lose out, we could potentially still have the 3rd overall pick, which is pretty incredible because like early on in this season, we're like, oh, dang, they could be competing for the playoffs. And they really looked like that at times. It feels like kind of motivation's gone out the window and just not there anymore.
Well, but even, I mean, when we can get into this when we get into the Falcons, but even that game was winnable. The weird part to me is that the Falcons are, like you said, if we lose out, we could potentially have the 3rd pick, but we could be in a point where we still make the playoffs and be like the 12th or 16th pick. I think
everybody at this point has to be rooting for the NFC South for every team to end 7-9, because that's still in the realm of possibility. Yeah. Each of the 4 teams could end 7-9.
But Falcons have lost every tiebreaker, which is like we're out.
Yeah, we wouldn't make it, but I just think it'd be awesome. Like, statistically, what are the odds of that?
Oh, I would love it, and I would love for us to be the ones to defeat the Buccaneers. I want us to knock Tom Brady out of playoffs.
Get him out of the NFC South. I think he's on the last year of his. I think he only had a 1-year deal.
I read rumors that he would retire after this year regardless, but we'll see. I mean, I could see him going to San Francisco as well, but maybe not for Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy might take that job.
Looks good.
But yeah, why don't we use that? Wait, what do you want to pick as the Blursed of the week?
I think we tie. I vote for you and you vote for me. And
We tied.
Another tie, guys. Another tie.
I love it. I love ties. But speaking of the Falcons. Yeah, I was waiting for that. Speaking of the Falcons, we saw Desmond Ridder this weekend, and I know there's going to be a lot of people who are probably upset about the game. And I saw all the Mariota stands after the game going, 13 for 26, 97 yards. That's something Mariota could have done. And someone which I saw was like, yeah, Mariota's been in the NFL for 8 years, and this is his first start. Like, come on. Like, that's why we're mad about
and
Mariota.
That's what we said so early in the year, too, is like, Mariota's playing like a rookie, might as well play the rookie. And that's what we saw. Like, I mean, there wasn't much of a change from what we've seen earlier in the season at the quarterback position, but there's a little bit of hope that it could get better. And I think as we progress through the game, we saw him start playing better. Start figuring some things out, the timing. Everybody points to that fourth down throw there at the end of the game. We were in the game. We could have won. We were driving down the field.
You're a Drake London fumble away from probably winning or at least tying the game
getting into overtime.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
And that's twice. I will say this. I actually really like Drake London, but that's twice this year he's fumbled a game away.
We had another game earlier this season.
Yeah.
That play itself.
It was, exactly. I mean, that's twice, though, he's fumbled the ball at the end of the game. However, the last time, Mariota had a chance to win it, and he threw an interception. And this time, we did have a chance to win it. And Ridder was looking for laterals and everything, but no one was coming back for the ball. That was wild.
Yeah, I'm sure people are calling him out for running the ball like that at the end of the game.
He had nothing
open. He had nothing open. He made it pretty far down the field, and he was waving guys to come back so he could lateral the ball. Nobody came back downfield, or maybe they didn't have time. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at least he showed a little bit of awareness. And I think there's been multiple times this season that, like, we haven't been able to get a throw-off at the end of a game either for the final play.
Mariota just takes a sack. So
at least we got past the line of scrimmage.
I want to hit on some things that I saw people talking about. I would like to first say, like, Ridder looked like a rookie for sure. He had bad moments, but I felt like he had some good moments. Like he made some throws that we haven't seen Mariota make all year.
Yeah.
We saw him at least going for a bunch of different things. I'll be honest though, his weapons are not that great right now. Besides Drake London out there.
Yeah, it's tough. Besides the run game, which has been really good.
What do we have? 230 yards or something like that.
Yeah,
231 rushing yards. Yeah,
but nobody had more than 20 yards receiving besides Drake London.
Yeah.
And to
they
me,
look good together.
It felt like Drake London has been unlocked immediately.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know if it's the chemistry that they have or just somebody that's able to fit the ball into him. Just get it anywhere in his radius, he can make a play on it. And there were some tight throws that he was able to make and put on him. And it looks like they're a good combination.
And Drake has some good catches. Yeah, that one-handed grab. I will say this, and I'm starting to really lean towards this. I know early in the season we're like, why is Arthur Smith not trying to hit the ball to Kyle Pitts? I think it's just so obvious now that Marcus Mariota just threw it to whoever the hell he wanted to. Like, because here's my thing. Why was Marcus Mariota not feeding Drake London the ball? Like, feed this guy the ball. He's so good. Yes. And you see Ridder immediately doing it. But, I mean, I think Drake London only had a couple good games prior to this.
I mean, just looking at the other list of receivers in the stat book here that were even
Nicole
targeted.
Pruitt.
Yeah, it's Avery Williams, Cordero Patterson was targeted one time, and then nothing else.
Yeah, but you have your OZ is probably your best receiver after that, Lamine Zaccheaus, but he's not. How many teams is he starting on? Not many.
Yeah, only this team.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I know a lot of people are mad about that Drake London pick with your first round pick being a wide receiver, but man, I think we're going to go early. I don't think we're going first round again. But I think we're going to go early again on another wide receiver this next year. You almost have to.
Not first round. Not first round.
No, not first round. But you almost have to go second, third round to get it, or pay up, which I don't want to pay up in the free agency. I don't think it's worth paying up. But
yeah, and we saw some good things as Ridder went through the game. At the beginning of the game, I thought there was really weird play call for a rookie quarterback.
Yes,
because really you're thinking, okay, let's get a couple screen passes, slant, short passing game, get him settled into the game. Maybe let him take a hit and feel like he's playing. His first game he's played in over a year.
Yeah.
Or
since
damn near close to a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or one that mattered.
I mean, I messaged you during the game. I typically have been not as harsh on Arthur Smith because I feel like I have to defend the guy. But I'll be honest, I was pretty upset about some of the play calls on Sunday. I felt like he got really cute with it. And I get it. I guess he's trying to help Ridder not. But like you said, what are we playing for at this point? Let the kid play. Like, just give him a chance to go out there because there are so many trick plays, and I'll be honest with you, they just didn't work. A lot of them just did not work.
Not close. No,
not even close. So like, let's just let the kid play. I was not a fan of that. I
also
also
try to get Felipe Franks involved.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Felipe Franks thing. Oh, I'll try to be honest. He looked dope in the preseason and like the training camp. But that's what he is. He's a training camp hero. I did see this though. David Shelley, I don't know how to say his name. He's a AP award-winning sports journalist for Tampa Bay 10. I don't know, a couple stuff. He tweeted out yesterday. I said Arthur Smith as Falcons head coach. He pointed out that he's the first head coach to lose Atlanta debut since Petrino, first Atlanta coach to get shut out at home since 1988, and he's the first back-to-back losing seasons to start Atlanta tenure since 1987. He said that sheet should be hot in my opinion. But I'll say this, a lot of Atlanta sports media have come out to Arthur Smith's defense, even once people have been critical of him, to say, like, have you not realized, like, he's dealing with a $70 million cap hit, dead cap hit, and, like, look at this team and look how competitive they've been. Like, they inherited one of the hardest situations. Like, I don't think, you know why Arthur Smith's our head coach? Because no one else wanted this job. No one else wanted it. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it is an NFL coaching job, but it was a very tough situation to walk into, which I think there's probably a 3-year plan on the table when he took the job.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
After this season, I wouldn't be on board with firing him after what we've had.
I feel like it showed promise. I mean, our offensive line made a huge step. The running game stepped up this year, which all we could do last year was pass the ball. We had no running game. So he's shown you he can do both. I feel like a lot of fans have short-term memory on that. They're like, well, now we can't even pass the ball. And it's like, well, look who our quarterback was last year and look who our quarterbacks are this year. Like, let's just put perspective in it a little bit. But he still is also made rookie
next year's where
mistakes.
I draw the line, though. I draw the line next season. Like, we need to have a winning season, hopefully a playoff berth.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel too. You have to either have a winning season. I mean, a playoff berth would be a winning season, but at least a winning season next year, or he's got to go. Like, because at that point, then you're not establishing a culture. You're just losing. And I get it. Sucks, man, that you were the guy who had to lose a lot before they start to get good, because that happens sometimes, but it is what it is. Like, at some point, you got to make the change. And I think, I mean, to piggyback, the Hawks are going to have to do something similar soon, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but it's the same thing. I mean, Nate McMillan's on year 3 right now. Well, year 2.5. But
I like to make the hard decision.
You do. And I like seeing Atlanta sports journalists to go to his defense. I thought that was cool because they've been kind of at bat a lot this year. So I was a fan of that. I'll also say this. If you look at the Falcons game, our defense, sorry, Dean Pease, I hope you're okay. Recover well. I was so pissed when I saw that he got hit before the game. And I'll be honest, our defense played like he wasn't there to start the game. They gave up two quick, easy touchdowns, put us behind the 8 ball so quickly. And then we end up only losing 18-21. So if you can just eliminate some of those mistakes on that first quarter, I'll ask you a question too. I tweeted this out and I want to know, did the Falcons defenders need to hit the weight room, or are we just bad at tackling? Like, holy shit. It's every game.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It feels like there's like glimpses of, oh dang, that was a really good play. Like like our safe Grant,
Richie Grant,
he had a couple of really good plays, and then it's like it may have been him that got.
Is he the one that gave up the one over the top too? Though
it may have been that Taysom Hill, the quarterback / tight end, threw for like 40-50 yards
touchdown.
So it's like, how does that stuff happen? So I think it's about consistency, and some of that comes with being able to wrap up. Maybe it's a talent thing too.
But I mean, it has to be a talent thing. Like, I mean, and that's something that I want to keep in perspective for the Falcons team is they are young. Like, they're super young team. And the people you're seeing make plays, Richie Grant, he's in year 2, Troy Anderson in year 1, Miko Walker, I think, is in year 2 or 3. Like, the people you see making plays are young players, and it's exciting to see. But to transition this into like things I want, my Christmas wish for next year for the Falcons, give me a pass rush, please, or defensive line. I want interior pass rush. I really want Jalen Carter. Like, that's who I want. That's who I want the Falcons to take. Jalen Carter. I want that big defensive lineman.
We're right there in that mix.
We are in the mix.
Realistically, could happen.
And people are coming out and talking about his character issues, which is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So let him drop to the Falcons, please. Please. You about to sneeze? Don't sneeze.
Started thinking about it too much. Now I'm not.
Well, if you say don't sneeze, don't sneeze.
Man. Whew.
When you
Sorry
say
about
don't
that,
sneeze, right before someone sneezes, it stops them, I swear. It's like
honestly,
magic.
yeah. Usually just goes right along. But
Yeah, it's like
that time
subconsciously, you just don't sneeze.
But like, one thing I want to say that's interesting is like the direction. There's like two different directions that the franchise could go after the season.
Mhm.
And so much of it relies on how Ritter plays the next 3 games. He could make a career out of these next 3 games. If he performs, the Falcons won't draft one of these quarterbacks in the top 10. We're going to be in the top 10. I don't know that we win more than 2.
Yeah, I think I saw Todd McShay had Will Levis coming to us, I think, is who he picked.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and I was very impressed with him. I like his play style. He's tall quarterback, gets the ball out quickly. But yeah, there's a lot of options at quarterback. If he comes out and lights it up 2 of the 3 games coming up, we might go a different direction.
I want to see how he play. Like the cool part about the end of this season, which I get it's only 4 games and that stinks, but we were also in the playoff hunt. But what I want to see is you have 4 games to prove yourself, and your 4 games are very diverse. You have a Saints game, Saints are always going to be a hard out. It's your division rival. It's your biggest rival. Then you have the Ravens, who are a good team. So we're going to see how he fares against a like a playoff caliber team. And then after that, you have Arizona Cardinals, which are a bad team. So then you have a chance to play against someone who's dog. And at the very end, you have a chance to play spoiler season against the GOAT. So like, what a great 4-game tryout. For me, what's more important than the big numbers, the gaudy numbers, are just like, does he have control over the offense? Is he making the right reads? Is he making the right plays? Like, does he look like he's capable of carrying it? Because we'll be honest, like we just said, the team's not super talented around him. So, he's got to do some of this stuff by himself. But I'm more impressed with him than I am Zach Wilson. Like with the Jets after 1 game. Like, I don't even.
Yeah. I mean, there's some hope. I mean, Zach Wilson has shown some flashes. He's also gotten like a year and a half under his belt now. But yeah, there's just so much talent in this quarterback class of guys that could be special. And I think of the quarterbacks available there, Will Levis looked really good. He's kind of like a Josh Allen comp, in my opinion, just with his size, and he can run the ball a little bit, which kind of fits into this game. Well, I mean, that would fit into any.
I like Anthony Richardson too. He has inaccuracy issues, but man, he runs a 4.4 and he's got a cannon of an arm. So if you could, that was Josh Allen. Josh Allen doesn't run a 4.4, but he had inaccuracy issues too in college, and look what he's become. So, I mean, if you can work on the mechanics, I don't know if Art Smith's a quarterback guru, but he did help Ryan Tannehill become Tanner Thrill.
Yeah, I mean, if you scheme up some plays where these guys are open, you'll get a little bit more out of your quarterback. I was just looking through the top 15 picks here. There are 3 defensive players from UGA in the top 15.
Keely Ringo is one of them. And I don't even know if I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like he's been burned at different times.
Yeah,
I like Ringo.
I mean, he's a playmaker, is what I'll say, but he's no Sauce Gardner or anything like that. Like I wouldn't feel comfortable taking him in the top 10.
No, they have Nolan Smith at 10 right now, so maybe that's another edge rusher that we could.
Yeah, I'll say this, for me, for next year, and we'll talk more about this at the end of the season, but since we're talking about Christmas wishes, I want Jalen Carter or I want another cornerback to go beside AJ Terrell. AJ Terrell locks down the speedy guys. Give me someone who can lock down the AJ Browns. Give me someone
he's really come into it the second half of the season too.
Oh yeah, Lave had no catches yesterday.
Yeah, he's been a stud.
Yeah,
what do you expect him to be?
Yeah, and then it sucks that they didn't have Casey Hayward all year. I'll be honest with you, this Falcons team could have finished the year so differently if some injuries didn't fall, which is so weird to say, but because of how winnable this division is and how many close games you were in, the Falcons have lost. How many games have we lost by? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, it's a lot of the games.
5, 6, 7 games. We lost 7 games by less than a touchdown.
Do it for the culture.
For the culture. What about you? What do you want? Yeah. I'm
trying to think of what my Christmas.
Do you want Ritter to be the starting quarterback? Do you want him to become a stud? Is that what you want? Do you want to see him succeed, or would you rather go for someone else?
Nothing would build depth faster with the rebuilding franchise is if a 3rd-round quarterback pans out.
Absolutely.
I know I've gotten grilled a little bit for my Russell Wilson take. Now, if we look back to rookie Russell Wilson, he built that dynasty because he gave them so much value out of
as a third round pick,
as a third round quarterback.
And they spent a ton of money on defense. Yeah.
Yep. And then they were able to invest elsewhere, and then they built the Legion of Boom.
And what's crazy too is they didn't really have many offensive playmakers besides Russell and Marshawn. Like wide receiver wise, they didn't have they had some decent receivers, but
I mean, Tyler Lockett, that was the main one, right?
Was he there yet? He wasn't there yet. I don't know if Tyler Lockett's won a Super Bowl.
I can't remember what receivers they had then.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't have. I don't think they had any really great ones. Let's see. How many? I don't know if Tyler Lockett has a Super Bowl win.
Interesting. But yeah, I mean, if he can pan out in these couple of games, and then we get to use a first round pick, an early first round pick on not a skill position, but defensive lineman, offensive lineman. Hopefully defensive lineman. That's like another step in the right direction, and then we don't have to reinvest in another quarterback. I guess we won't go into next season with Mariota as the backup because he's a little bitch.
Yeah, dude, we haven't even talked about that. What about that, man?
All right, so Mariota, as soon as he got notified he was getting benched, he decided that he was going to have knee surgery. Is that right?
Yeah.
It's apparently something that's been lingering.
Yeah, elected.
But from everything we've seen in interviews that Arthur Smith has done, it seemed like it's not something that he was aware of until after that decision was made.
He kind of called him out, too.
Essentially, he quit on the team, is my opinion. He decided that he's wants his injury payout and he wants to ride out the rest of this year. And then he's done,
which saves us some money next year. So thank you, Mariota, for that. But I mean, how should he, dude? He disagreed with the performance-based benching. It's like, how do you disagree? Every fan and then every smart fan has been calling for you to lose your job for weeks now, and you're thinking,
I don't know. It's like Heisman entitlement or something like that. I don't know, but he's been a backup in the league for 3 or 4 years now, and that's all he's ever going to be.
The Falcons threw you a bone, and
I don't know if he'll be a backup after this year because that's how bad he's been.
And then that's how you handle it. Absolutely not. And when you look at Geno Smith, who's been a backup for 7 or 8 years, and he was also a first round pick, and he was able to learn and really develop into this. But Mariota, you're still not you're not sliding to take less hits. You don't want to change your game because you think your game's too good.
I think it says a lot too of the people that were convinced that Mariota was such a good leader and leading the locker room, etc. earlier this year, and that's why we shouldn't make the change to Ritter. Yeah, I don't think he was that good of a leader. If this is the approach that he's taking, he doesn't care about his teammates, and that's something that plays huge. And you can look in comparison to how Matt Ryan handled getting benched earlier this season.
Yeah.
He was helping Sam Ehlinger every day, and the stories that came out about that, and I don't know, man. It doesn't feel good.
No.
He got an opportunity here. It didn't work out, but you don't just quit in the middle of the season.
I'll be honest. I didn't dislike Mariota. I wanted him benched for sure, but he seemed like a nice guy. He was trying to win games. I mean, it came into a bad situation, but yeah, you burned every bridge that you had with me. I don't care. I'm never gonna root for him again. I don't care. That is ridiculous. You quit on your team. I don't know. And also the pride to not see yourself as the problem.
It's bad luck. Yeah, zero awareness.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. It was just kind of weird all around that's how that played out. But
do you know the lines for the games coming up this weekend?
No. I can look it up.
Yeah, would you? We were going to talk about last weekend, so they did get the under. However, the Saints. Oh, wait, what was the points? Was it -5?
Can't remember.
Is it in the spreadsheet?
No, I don't. I got lazy.
You're good. You're good. Saints versus Falcons. Let's see what it was. Yeah, so it was the spread was -5. So actually, we were right. Whoever said under, which was me, and picked the Falcons, which was me, I was right.
whoever it was,
whoever that
was extremely right.
Yeah.
It was me. Here we Shocker. Go. I got the line.
Blursed bets.
All right, so the Falcons are underdogs, 6.5 point underdogs against the Ravens in Baltimore this weekend.
Lamar's out, right?
I think it's undecided. Apparently, Harbaugh didn't want to disclose if he was going to play or not this week for some kind of advantage. But the over-under is set at 37.5, which is an incredibly low line, which I don't think that's wrong.
Falcons' defense is so bad, though. I mean, it depends.
But if it's a backup quarterback versus rookie quarterback,
you're right. I mean, that's the thing about a rookie quarterback, though, is they have those random games where they come out and surprise you and sling it around the yard. But I don't think if Kyle Pitts was healthy, maybe I'd give us a shot at doing that. But I might say over, but I'm taking the Ravens with the 6.5 points.
If anybody has a hunch that Lamar Jackson is going to play, then this is a really good time to get your bet in on the over because that is extremely low line.
He could put up 30 on the Falcons by himself.
Yeah, and then I would. Man, it's hard to make a prediction based on if the backup's playing. If Lamar's playing, then you take the Ravens in the over.
Yes.
If not, if it's a backup, I would take the Falcons. I think they're going to lose, but they're going to cover the spread.
Oh, you think we lose by less than a touchdown?
Hey, they're good at that.
They are good at that.
They're really good at staying in close games and then blowing it somehow. And then I would take the under. So there, I'm covered either way. So.
Yeah, I like that. I will say this: I'm gonna give Art Smith the one kudos to him. He's smart by running the ball so much. Like I know we want Ritter to toss it around. I mean, he still had 23 attempts throwing it, which is more than Mariota got in some games. But really, he put himself in a position to win that game, even with Ritter. Because Ritter made some mistakes, and there was a couple balls. There's at least one ball I remember that should have been picked off.
It's 2 or 3 that should have been picked, probably.
Yeah. So, and he's going to make mistakes. We know it, and we know he will. But I don't know. The Ravens defense could be one of those defenses that really take advantage of him.
Yeah. We'll see. Do we want to talk about fantasy or no? I know you don't. I'll chime in. So.
Fantasy Power Minute.
So yeah, Blake already chimed in about how his fantasy weekend went, but there are a couple of big injuries that happened. Jonathan Taylor was one of those, and it hurt Blake this week. The backup running backs are available in a lot of leagues, and we have a very deep league, and they're both available. So I don't know if anybody in our league is going to listen to this. I'm hoping I can get one of those guys picked up.
You're going to want at least one.
They got combined 30-something yards, but then something else to look at, Austin Eckler is dealing with a shoulder injury right now too. So he's probably not going to practice most of the week. Shout out to him though, because he's hugely into fantasy football, and he got hurt early, and then I kind of feel like he was in the first round of the playoffs, and he had himself in the starting lineup, himself, and he's like, I got to get back in there. I gotta. He's probably in some high stake leagues.
I mean, but here's the other thing too, and this is something y'all got to think about as well. Colts are not in a position to make the playoffs, and they're not in a position to want to have to compete. So the fact that Jonathan Taylor got hurt, they don't want to risk it. Whereas the Chargers are fighting for a playoff spot. I mean, their coach is probably literally fighting for his job. So Jonathan Taylor's Eckler's got to play. He's got to keep going. Same with I got the Pat Freiermuth. I started him. He had 0 points. He only ran 18 routes on the day. They're a not good team, not playing for much, and he's a really good tight end. And they don't want to lose him for the future, so they rested him. So just be careful. Be mindful of injuries, especially when you're starting. They say start your studs, but you got to, I don't know. I second guess myself all day. I wanted to start one of my other tight ends. But that's the thing is it's really hard. So really, really pay attention to those injury reports. And I don't know, there's a lot of good people to follow on Twitter that are really checked in on not only look for beat writers of different teams. Cause not only will you figure out the injury report, but you also they tend to know whether they think a player is going to have an impact or not. Cause I read something that they saw Ramondre Stevenson was going to have a huge impact in the game. And a lot of people were saying, I wouldn't start him because of ankle injury. And he went out there and he put up 160 yards and had a touchdown.
Jeez. So that's pretty nuts after a high ankle injury like that. Another guy that had a high ankle injury was Dameon Pierce, who's a rookie for Texans. And like you said earlier, they're another team that is not competing at this point in the year. So he got put on the IR instead of trying to come back, which he probably could have come back in 2 or 3 weeks. But so that's another part of it. So you got to work around that kind of stuff. Oh, by the way, why'd you drop Cortland Sutton?
Didn't
have any room.
I didn't have any room. So here's the thing. I knew you were going to be the one to pick him up, but if you look, I had CeeDee Lamb, Christian Watson, Devontae Adams, and Jamar Chase. He's not starting over any of them.
Ever.
And I'd rather keep the 3 tight ends I had because I have Dulcich and I can't think of his name for the Titans, the rookie, but he's been doing really well recently. He's got 18, 10, and 10 or something like that. Like
that was actually pretty funny since you ended up losing by what, 10 this week?
Well, Frank didn't start our defense. Because he doesn't want to lose it. He doesn't want to lose. Yeah. If you look at my team, though, if I started different people, I would. Here's the biggest issue, too, is like Jonathan Taylor getting hurt made it where I had to like, and Ramondre Stevenson being questionable. I really wanted to start Stevenson and Christian Watson because Christian Watson has a chance to go off for 30 tonight. You just never know. But because Stevenson was questionable, I had to start Elliott in my running back position, and I needed to be more safe because of JT being only giving me 1.8 points. Like, I don't know. There's so many things going through your head. It's almost harder to have, I felt like I had so many good players. I didn't know who to start, which was so weird to say. And obviously they didn't end up doing that well, but it's true. Like, I feel like my team's really good and I'm disappointed.
Yeah. Good luck to everybody out there.
Good luck.
Still dealing with the fantasy.
I saw a bunch of tweets today of like people going 10-4 in their season and losing to a 6-8 team first round of playoffs. So like, I know a lot of you are out there, and I know you probably have better teams than what I had and got eliminated first round. It's tough.
We feel for your
pain. You got next year though, because here's the thing: you're good at fantasy, and all these people who didn't make playoffs past couple of years in a row, Aaron, who are talking a bunch of shit right now. Why don't you start winning, okay? And then he'll talk to me.
Yeah, Aaron, you idiot! I bet you're listening to this right now at work on Tuesday, even here, and you're sitting there in the toilet bowl.
Yeah,
just think about some of your life choices.
Did he win his game?
I don't know. We need to look real quick.
We got to look it up right now. I think he was trending towards winning. I'm pretty sure because he was talking a lot of smack.
Yeah, he beat Chase by 7. So
yeah, so he's playing for 7th right now, which is honestly the best Aaron's finished in the last like 2 or 3 years.
Oof. So, oh man, yeah.
Sorry, I'll dig into him a little bit.
All right, let's. You want to talk about the Hawks for a sec?
Yeah, let's mention the Hawks.
All right, the timing of that was really good. Let's mention the Hawks. Okay, go ahead.
So where we're still at, Nate McMillan's still the coach, so that's still a thing. Our team's still battling back from injury. John Collins will start tonight for the first time in like 2 weeks, and DeJounte Murray's on his way back. There's been a lot of people already tweeting saying like the Hawks are exactly who we thought they were going to be. Not Hawks fans; these are like Knicks fans and stuff. Like they're playing team at best, and like. Come on, guys. We were missing 4 of our starters for a whole week, and they were missing 3 of them for over 2 weeks. Like, of course, we're going to lose some games, but that doesn't take away the fact that we've lost some games that we should win. We all know that we've done that. And so it's really, for me, it's the question is, are they going to give Nate a couple of weeks with all the players back? And then if we don't get on a roll, they're going to fire him? Or is this just like, I don't know, maybe they're so invested into this season, or they're going to chalk it up as like the season's over, let Nate finish the season and try to already start the coaching search for next year. Like, and they don't want the empty seat. I don't know. It just feels like something like that.
You're not going to make a hire mid-season. So like if we let Nate go, who's on the bench that would take over?
Right. Exactly. Right? So I think they may go a little bit further, and Nate gives you a better chance. I mean, you go out and get like a Mike D'Antoni or something like that, but can he implement a whole system within like right there? Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And I think we'd rather wait for like a Kenny Atkinson or a younger coach.
What's Coach K up to?
Speaking of Coach K, like someone I'd be interested in would be like not JJ Redick because he's not trying to coach, but I would like a young mind, like a young coach. I don't know. I don't see that happening this year. So maybe we just push through because as of right now, this is what I was saying. And I'm going to repeat myself if we use my recording is that the Hawks to me right now don't look like a championship team. A lot of things could change to change my mind on that. But as of right now, I don't see it. And if that's the case, then I agree. Let's just let Nate finish the season. Or you fire him and you let whoever your assistant is finish, like Kyle Korver, let him come in, let him finish the season. And then let's go hire someone young and exciting. I'm fine with that too. If we start trending downward, you have to fire him. Like that's how I feel.
How long has Korver even been out of the league, man?
Only a couple of years, not too long. But like he could do it as like with an assistant or something. I don't know. I don't know if they would let him be the head coach, but he's our player development right now, or like our key player development person. So
interesting.
Yeah. So Hawks though, like just, I don't know. Let's watch a healthy team play tonight. They play Orlando. Wait, I think
Orlando's been hot too.
Maybe we don't play Orlando. I think we just played
No, I think you're right.
We do. I'm right. Okay, yeah, you're right.
They've won
they have
like
been
6
hot.
straight.
They won 6 straight. They're 11-20, and they won 6 straight.
Boston, I think.
They did. They beat Boston last night. Jason Tatum didn't play though, so that kind of helped them a little bit. But anytime you beat Boston, who hasn't lost much this year, it's a big deal. So yeah, I want to see if Trey gets out of the slump. I really love to see us start winning games. But if we don't, it's time to make that change.
Maybe it's coming.
It's time to make that change.
All right, before we wrap up, do you want to try out our new segment?
Let's do it.
I don't know that I have anything prepared, but here, I'll give this.
Office Talk.
Office Talk.
This is the brainchild of my wife, Kinsey. Shout out her segment idea that she kept us waiting for.
The suspense was killing me.
I'll let you go first since I don't know what to say.
Yeah, no. What we want from this segment is I don't know, that there's certain things that are cool to bring up in your office discussion because sports are pretty prevalent, especially if you have guys in your office. Typically, there's going to be at least one guy who wants to talk sports. And so if you're trying to, I don't know, get more involved and you're not someone to talk about sports, I hope listening to us can give you some insight. But in this segment alone, we want to give you maybe some interesting things you can bring up that take it just a little bit further. That's kind of how I see it, right? Like that next step in the conversation. Because if you're listening to us, you know what to talk about.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the office either. So this week, especially family gatherings.
Oh, yeah, it's perfect for family. You got that one uncle or your granddad who's watching sports. This is perfect to bring up, too.
There you go.
And mine's actually a little gossipy this week. I wanted to go off. There's this reporter called Jenna Lane for ESPN. She does Tampa Bay sports, Buccaneers. She, with a couple other reporters, like really rudely confronted Gio Bernard after the game. To talk to him about a point in the game where he messed up. He dropped I think it was a fake play and he screwed up the play and they lose. And I mean, part of it is to him, but the way they confronted him was just very rude. And then talked about like, well, you haven't, someone said you haven't been worth talking about all years, which I haven't talked to, because he said his comment was, oh, you want to talk to me now? Like, yeah. And because I messed up. And one person said, well, you haven't done anything worth talking about all year. I was like, dude, like this is like, you have become now more than the player. And so what I want to talk about is just like this person just had the, I don't know, what is it called? The privilege to like feel like you can just confront. I don't know if it's privilege.
The audacity.
The audacity. And she defended herself the entire time. So if you haven't listened to the clip, she tweeted out herself. Just look up Jenna Lane or at Jenna Lane ESPN. She tweeted out herself. It says Bucs running back Gio Bernard didn't want to talk to the media about what happened on the botched fake punt. Here's the interaction. And then she said, no, as reporters, it's our job to seek clarity on what happened, especially on the most pivotal play of the game. A lot of people came to his defense and they're like, why would you even tweet this? Like, you made yourself look bad here.
Yeah,
so if you want to beat on the gossip, watch this and bring it up. It's the hot talk.
Nice. Good office talk / family gathering talk. Here's some good stuff for office talk. Any family member that might think that you don't know that much about baseball, start throwing around some terms like WAR, wins above replacement.
Oh, I love
that. AAV, which the annual average value of like a contract. So you can talk about Dansby. His AAV is at $25 million a year, and his WAR was 6.5 this year, which was two WAR above any previous year.
Do you think you can sustain it? Right, exactly.
Yeah. Just start throwing around terms like that, and then you'll start making them question themselves a little bit.
And you also should bring up, like, the movie Moneyball? Well, what really it's about is this GM realizing that OBP is more important than batting average, and that if you can look for players, like really just go into it, really sell yourself all the way in, and they'll think because really that's what that movie is about. That's why the Oakland A's won a World Series, because they looked at on base percentage.
They didn't win a World Series, but they did make the playoffs.
They didn't win. That's right. They made the playoffs. They did not win a World Series. You're right.
They made the playoffs consistently. Like, they have.
Didn't they make a World Series or no?
No, I think they went to the ALCS one year. I think. But
I mean, that's right. But exactly. So they use advanced analytics on something that had never been done before. And now all the teams use it, but money.
Yeah. So how do you think we're going to be able to replace Dansby's WAR this offseason, or are we going to go with with a hole at shortstop,
And
stuff like that.
Yeah, and what you'll say is our WAR will probably be a little lower this season, but I think with the platoon of Grissom and Arcia, we have a good chance.
All right, there you go. That's office talk, and I think that's gonna do it for us today. Unless you got anything else, Blake?
Yeah, all I want to say is Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, any other holiday out there, or if you don't celebrate any holidays, just enjoy this time of the year because it's just I don't know, it's starting to get cold, and past December, I think January, February are really cold, dark months, and I start to look for spring again. So enjoy this time.
Listen to Blursed. Bring some light into your life.
We will be taking a week off.
Yes, just 1 week though, because we were thinking about 2 weeks in a row here, but then I was like, we have UGA playing on New
we'll be
Year's
back
Day.
for the New Year.
Yeah, so we got to talk about that. We'll be back, so don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. We'll be back.
See you in 2023.
And yeah, happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays, guys. Stay safe.
Deuces.